Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Robert Champion Jr. I'm a co-founder of Stories Unheard Productions.
Who are you?
Well, hi. My name's Michael Diaz. I'm the co-founder of Stories Unheard Productions.
So, sup is the business?
Yeah, Stories Unheard Productions.
Cool. SUP.
Yeah, sup. Yeah.
So what is SUP? SUP is an acronym for Stories Unheard Productions.
We broke down the name to give it more depth. It's not like just sup. It's not like what's up. Because we focus on, if you break down the name.
We look for stories that have a message.
Stories that are compelling.
And that are relatable. And then it has to be unheard of in some way. Whether the story itself is not being talked about.
They're unheard of, maybe like in terms of the vision or perspective.
So many once asked us, why is this Stories Unheard and not Unheard Stories? Because unheard stories is something unheard of. It's not something that has been heard. Stories unheard, just something that's not being heard, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist and it's not being said. Whereas the other is just something like aliens. It's unheard of.
We just try to focus on stuff that's pushed under the rug, kind of. Stuff that maybe people, I don't want to say they're not ready for, but some people aren't necessary. Some people don't like stuff like that. Some people just want to watch something funny to just make them laugh and forget about the world.
And it's like jokes are funny, but then the world kind of switched for me. I felt like there's so much less to laugh about. There's so much more to say right now.
And how did you get into film?
How did I get into film? Oh, well, basically, got into film through meeting Mike.
I met Rob working at the airport, actually. My friend Seth, he got me a job right after college.
The longer story, started writing poetry as a means of rehabilitation after this car accident I had.
To be honest, I just heard his story, just his life story, which was just kind of crazy. He was just telling me stuff.
Because my accident, I was in a coma for 3 weeks. I was in the hospital for 99 days. I had to learn how to walk again and use my limbs and write and stuff and speech therapy.
I used to have a million ideas for t-shirts, millions of ideas for films, TV series, skits, all types of different things. And I didn't really move on them. But when I heard that, I kind of was like, that's a crazy story.
And it wasn't until Mike really pushed me. He's like, let's get it down on paper. Let's do this. So then we did.
He had left the airport first, I left after. But we still remained in touch, and we started working on what we were calling his autobiography.
Went through hours of interviewing my family members, going through papers, my medical files, my police files, because there's police involved as well. Just crazy time.
And then the thing was, we kept writing. And it was like, we can't shoot any of this. This is 120 minutes. We need this, we need that. We need so much money, as everyone gets to.
So we started writing, my full feature and the depth of, what we're doing. And we was going to these classes and, going to all these events and stuff. And we realized that we needed to start our own company.
Okay. Why did you start the company?
Well, we started the company because writers are very underrepresented as far as I'm concerned. I'm a go-getter, I'm kind of a doer, and I feel like the stories I'm trying to tell have to come out a certain way where creative control isn't really negotiable.
But what we're doing is bringing light to the world that people aren't realizing is out there, if that makes any sense.
Make them face the hard truth.
Yeah.
You shooting and so are your films about more reflecting what people are seeing and just hey, this is what I see, this is what New York is here, I'm giving you that same story, or are you teaching something in these stories?
Well, I think we observe and we just see what we try to be flies in the wall. So we're always going to be reflecting what we're seeing right back at you.
Face the hard truth, there is a lot of fucked up shit in this world. Pardon my French, but, and a lot of people, especially here in New York, just go about their days and it's like whatever, you know. You see a lot of crazy stuff out here, and that's what our first film, Reflection, is about.
So that's how we end up at our first short film, where we were saying, let's just shoot something. 3 minutes, who cares?
And Reflection's an interesting piece. It's a short film. We shot it in the reflection of a moving subway car.
There's always, in every story, there's some sort of turning point where a character is a certain way for a certain reason. And I feel like we try to capture the point right before. If you take any type of movie, you take Juice with Tupac, and like Bishop, that character, when he's watching, what's that movie called? White Heat, which is a movie from the 30s or 40s. I ended up watching it because of Juice. But that was his transition right there, seeing someone go 100% for something, which made him at the end go all in.
Yeah, so you were saying how like you went to classes and you decided to come with a team. I mean, you decided to team up. What made you want to team up with your partner? Like, what was that qualifying like thing that says, you know what, I want to partner with you. I think this will work.
Well, you know, Mike's an amazing guy. I worked with him at LaGuardia Airport, so we were friends first. We knew each other pretty well, and you know, he has a lot of ambition and like force.
He was working 6 days a week from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., which is super like crazy. And he had 1 day off a week, and that 1 day we'd write, and we just religiously write. And if we weren't writing, he's working 7 days a week. Slave shit. So I respect that grind, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's really about it.
Lead all these projects.
What was the hardest part?
I'm asking.
Oh, the hardest part of, well, I mean, I feel like since we were writing partners, I mean, it only made sense for us to start the company. You know, Mike and I trust each other, and you know, we both have different types of personalities, but we're both also, you know, smart enough and empathetic enough to, you know, everyone has arguments, you know, but you know, that's it. We talk it out, and sometimes, you know, the other one's right, and you know, we are fine with that.
When you work with someone, you have your ideas, they have their ideas. There's been times where Rob said something, I've shut it down, and 2 minutes later, after bickering back and forth, I realized, wow, I was dead wrong. It actually is perfect that way. Vice versa. And you have to be controlled enough to know, this is what we want to do. We want to find the best answer. We're not here being egotistical.
It's understanding. It's people who like hold grudges and, you know, stuff like that. So we get along really well in that aspect. I feel like both of us could have this company alone, but it wouldn't be nearly as powerful as it is having us both involved with it.
So it's definitely easier having like a teammate you can like count on.
I mean, there's so many obstacles. Nothing is easy. You know, I mean, none of this is easy, but it definitely helps to have a teammate, yes. You know, because you know you can count on that person.
It becomes bigger than you, you know? And that's what'll make you a great writer. Collaboration is what it's all about. So the best thing about having a business partner is that it opens you to collaboration. It's easier to trust other people, but you also hold people to that level because you have someone else who's put in the time and who's paid the price for you to do what you do. So now everyone else has to come to that level, or else you're ripping that person off. And you won't do that because you're invested just as much as they are.
What would you say that people can look forward to?
So Pep Talk is about a filmmaker who was adversely affected by the Harvey Weinstein scandal, and not in the traditional way you would think of. He didn't make a pass at her or anything like that, but just the act of his, you know, company breaking down.
We have 3 films, well, we had 3 films in post-production. We have one complete, and then we have 2 freebie videos, but we have 2 more that are in post right now, and we're preparing to shoot another one. another 2, I guess. I mean, we got a lot of stuff working.
So, our actress Melissa is going to be portraying, the 5 stages of grief. So the first scene where she's sitting on the couch, the first stage of grief walks up to her, herself, walks up to her as the first stage of grief, denial. And, there's a conversation ensues, and it goes with that through the 5 stages of grief.
Some people might say like a stoner book is teaching people like how to smoke or how to roll or how to how to be under the influence. Do you think like that's the case? And then if not, like you think it's even necessary for?
I think it's definitely necessary. See, the thing is, like, before we throw opinions about smoking, about how you feel about it, whether you like to do it, whether you don't like to do it, there is a safe way and there's a right way to do things. The thing is with the stoner book is that the stoner, the word stoner, is a type of person that's been around for a long time.
There's a lot of negative connotations when it comes to stoners. There's a lot of misconceptions. A lot of stoners are great people. And I feel like the media portrays them in a certain way that is incorrect.
The whole thing is that you have to give credit to where it's due, no matter how you feel, no matter what it is. This is now. In this present day, everything is legal. So why should you be teaching this when you haven't been around it? It's just cultural appropriation, just on a different level.
So what we are doing is we're creating these online tutorials of how to do, certain acts. Like we have how to roll a joint, how to smoke a bong, how to roll a Dutch Master cigar. So the idea is that we put out these episodes, and each episode will be a page in a book that you can print out.
What do you say to the people that feel like the truth is that this book is just teaching you how to get high?
The truth is that, well, one, and if you're an adult,
what's your perception of the truth
on
that?
Well, my perception.
I don't want to incriminate you.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're rolling a CBD flower because it's legal.
It's progressed so much. There's so many medical uses for it, and it's just options, giving people options out there.
Let me put it like this. My friend Sarah Graham, my old roommate, loved her to death. She taught me how to how to pour beer. Did she teach me how to be an alcoholic? No. It's about responsibility.
It's a stoner book, like almost like a cookbook. Like a Betty Crocker's, but that's how I look at it. Like these are all the recipes, and how to prepare this.
And this book is also helping you to avoid the dangers.
Yeah, I want to definitely do some stuff about explaining about marijuana or about cannabis. Explaining about cannabis. Explaining everything about cannabis. Just education. Like, people don't know about land races. You know what a land race is? I'm sure you've smoked them before, but you don't know. It's naturally grown cannabis. Those are land races.
Like, opposed to like stuff like 2K or 8K.
No, it's not even that. It's just naturally grown in the world. Nobody planted them. Like in India, there are land races. Jamaica, it grows naturally. Land races.
And like with these stories that are unheard from various points of view, what do you see yourself working on going forward? Like once you have a plethora of stories, plethora of perspectives, like is this the main road, or do you have other projects you want to try out? And like as far as your partnership, like how do you see it growing in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Well, I honestly I really like this niche that we're in, because I feel like our films are powerful.
The why is always to give some sort of message, which will be relatable to the film. Each of them will be thematic, but usually they're sociological, and they're about things that are really going on in the world. It would be to shed light on a lot of things, things we see, especially as New Yorkers, but of course Americans, but everyone has a different experience.
So I want our company to get more involved, maybe like even with humanitarian things, and just they know that we're not just out here making films exploiting people. Like, we really care, So the next 5-10 years, just really just progress. And I mean, not to say, I mean, we want to do other stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. We want, like, I want to make sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to do, you know, like I personally want to do like improv comedy, you know, stand up on the side, just go out there and talk, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's not, you know, there's a lot of stuff we want to do, but this is our focus, you know. And I feel, I can't speak for Mike, but I feel that, you know, that's really, you know, we just really want to make an impact, you know, positively.
I have things to say. I have messages. I have stories you had to be there for, you know, and I was there, and I'm out. Survival stories, or whether they just be cool stories. I have the cool stories, I have the survival stories. But regardless, it's just all to say, I feel like I was meant to do this. I feel like I've been such a fly on the wall for most of my life. Like, I was really quiet in high school, I was even quieter in elementary school. And I found my voice, and I'm not shutting up.
So you like have a responsibility to your former self?
Yeah, kind of, but also just the losses and people who invested. Just really like invested in me, not the filmmaker, but just invested in the person.
So if, like, for those who might look at your work and say like, wow, I want to do that. I have something to say, and I want to express it somehow. Mm-hmm. What would you say to those people?
Fucking do it, man. Just go out there, give it your all. Don't be scared. It's a hard, long road, and you're gonna have a lot of trials and tribulations. Little backstory about me. I quit a full-time job to start this company. I quit, a good job in the city, and because I had to we went to all these classes. We had to learn about the business, you know, the paperwork, everything, you know. So you got to give it your all. It's either all or nothing. It's 100%. That's the main thing.
It's a long, bumpy road. Don't ever think you made it. There is no making it. This is making it. Being in it, you know, and really making it as far as any piece of artistry is being able to do what you love and make a living. That's making it. There is nothing past that.
You will never be successful if you don't give it your whole heart. And I learned that through my rehabilitation.
Like, there's influences everywhere. I love Brian De Palma. My favorite film is Carlitos Way. I love that movie. The depiction of death is fascinating to me. You see that though? I just broke down why I like it. Break down yourself. Break down who you are. Why do you like what you like? Why do you do what you do? You know? Like, really get to know yourself. Because you as a filmmaker, you have to know your characters, right? Know the main character of your script, which is you.
But I gave it my 100%, and I had a great support team. And that's the thing, you have to surround yourself with friends and family who are there with you. And that's what I've got going. We have built a community of just like-minded individuals. And we want to grow that into something even bigger, you know? And that's what life's all about, you know? There's a lot of negative people out there, and you just have to separate from them. You can tell in a couple minutes, you know, how a person is, so. But yeah, we're just trying to do good, man, you know? We have stuff to say. We think people need to hear it.